Welcome back to The Deep Dive, the show that takes on the most complex topics of our time, unearths the crucial insights, and delivers them directly to you, our curious listener, in a way that's as engaging as it is enlightening.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're plunging into a frontier of personal data that is perhaps the most intimate, the most profound, and frankly, the most vulnerable we've ever encountered.
We're talking about your genome, your fundamental biological blueprint.
Yeah.
This isn't data about your preferences or your purchases. It's data so uniquely yours, it dictates everything from your eye color to your susceptibility to disease.
Right.
And here's the kicker. Once this information is out there, it can never truly be changed or reissued like a compromised credit card.
Exactly. For too long, our privacy concerns have rightly focused on our bank accounts, our social security numbers, our digital footprints. But what about the information that literally defines us, the very code that makes us us? We're standing at the precipice of a revolution that promises incredible health opportunities, from personalized medicine to eradicating diseases, yet it simultaneously introduces unprecedented risks to our privacy and security.
Our deep dive today journeys into the complex, rapidly evolving world of genomic data. We'll meticulously explore its unique vulnerabilities to re-identification, the escalating cyberbiosecurity threats that are now targeting everything from individual lab equipment to entire national supply chains, and the profound legal and ethical challenges posed by the emerging Internet of Bodies.
It sounds like a huge landscape.
It is. It's a landscape where biology and technology are converging in ways we're only just beginning to comprehend.
Our mission is clear. We want to equip you with the knowledge to understand how to safeguard this incredibly precious digital DNA in an increasingly connected and sometimes precarious world. Get ready for an exploration of surprising facts and critical insights that will leave you well-informed, perhaps a little unnerved, and definitely more vigilant about your genetic privacy. This isn't just theory. These are immediate, tangible concerns.
This deep dive and our exploration of today's rapidly evolving digital and biological security challenges is made possible by our incredible sponsors: www.cisomarketplace.com, www.compliancehub.wiki, and www.myprivacy.blog.
They really are dedicated to helping individuals and organizations navigate these complex waters, and we'll hear more from them later about the vital resources they offer.
Absolutely.
So let's unpack this fundamental building block of life, our DNA. At its heart, DNA is the carrier of all genetic information in living organisms.
Right, the basics.
We all learned in school that it's composed of a sequence of 4 fundamental nucleotides: adenine A, thymine T, cytosine C, and guanine G. These are the basic letters of your biological alphabet.
And within these vast sequences of A's, T's, C's, and G's are genes. Think of genes as specific instructions encoded within these sequences for making essential products like proteins or RNA molecules.
Okay.
It's these variations in sequences and genes that underpin the incredible diversity of life on Earth, making each of us unique, but also revealing deeply shared connections.
These genes manifest in observable traits we call phenotypes, like your hair or eye color, your blood type, or even the subtle nuances of your facial features.
The things we see.
But the information encoded within your genome goes far beyond what's visible. It reveals profound insights into your health, such as your susceptibility to specific medical conditions like sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, Huntington's disease, certain forms of muscular dystrophy, or even predispositions to specific cancers.
It's essentially a biological autobiography written in code.
Exactly. What makes genomic data truly unique and uniquely sensitive from a privacy perspective is its immutable and deeply associative nature.
Immutable is the key word there. Unlike your credit card number, which can be canceled and reissued after a breach, your genomic information is permanent. It's your blueprint, unchangeable.
Right.
Once it's leaked, it's out there forever, an unalterable identifier.
And here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, a bit unsettling for everyone. Your genome doesn't just contain deeply personal health and phenotype information about you.
No, it's much broader than that.
It's also a treasure trove of inherited information about your kin, your family, both living and ancestral, and even future generations. One person's genetic data implicitly discloses information about countless others.
This permanence and interconnectedness make it profoundly sensitive,
Right.
unlike almost any other data type we handle today. It has this ripple effect.
This immutable associative nature brings us directly to why genomic data is so incredibly vulnerable, despite what some might perceive as robust existing protections.
Yeah, there's a pervasive and I'd say dangerous illusion of anonymity that really needs to be shattered.
The de-identified myth, as it's often called, we tend to think that if our names and addresses are stripped from our health data, we're safe.
That's the common assumption.
But the shocking truth is, even small fragments of genomic data, when stripped of explicit identifiers, can be used to re-identify individuals with alarming ease. How pervasive is this issue, really? Are we talking about edge cases, or is this a fundamental flaw in how we approach genomic privacy?
Oh, it's a fundamental systemic flaw, and one that's far more widespread than most people realize. The core problem is that current de-identification, or DE, systems primarily focus on removing explicit identifiers like names, addresses, or social security numbers.
The obvious stuff.
Exactly. And then generalizing what we call quasi-identifiers. These are things like your date of birth, gender, or a 5-digit zip code.
Yeah.
The assumption is if enough of these are removed or generalized, you become anonymous in the crowd.
But that assumption is deeply flawed, isn't it? I remember reading, back in 2002, long before big data was truly big, groundbreaking research by LaTanya Sweeney.
Yes, the Sweeney study. Very important.
It demonstrated that just those 3 quasi-identifiers alone, date of birth, gender, and a 5-digit zip code, uniquely characterized over 87% of the entire United States population. 87%.
It's an astonishing statistic.
That's astonishing. So even if my name is removed, my birth date and general location are often enough to find me. And that was before we had all the advanced AI and data linkages we have today.
Precisely. That statistic alone should make us question the efficacy of de-identification as a standalone privacy protection. And the methods for re-identification are only becoming increasingly sophisticated.
So how are they doing it now?
Well, one major avenue, and a constantly expanding one, is genotype-phenotype inferences. This isn't about guessing. It's about directly linking specific DNA mutations to over 40 standardized diseases or even an individual's ability to metabolize certain drugs.
So connecting the code to real-world health traits.
Exactly. And as medical research continues to advance, uncovering more and more relationships between specific genomic markers and clinical phenotypes, the capability for such linkages only expands. It essentially transforms what was once anonymous into identifiable data as new discoveries are made.
So the key insight here is that even data you think is anonymized today because of ongoing scientific discovery could become uniquely identifying tomorrow. It's like a ticking privacy time bomb where new knowledge continuously unlocks old secrets.
It's a very good way to put it.
Beyond these biological inferences, what other types of data are being leveraged to pull back the curtain on our supposedly anonymous genomic data?
Well, attackers aren't just looking at the genome itself. They're leveraging a whole ecosystem of readily available information. This includes things like location visit patterns, tracing an individual's movements through cell phone data or public records.
Okay, so linking it to other data points.
Right. They can reconstruct family structures by cross-referencing public genealogies with genetic markers, essentially building a family tree to pinpoint an individual. And then there are more technical methods, like dictionary attacks, which exploit non-random information in encrypted or recoded data to reveal the underlying details. It's like finding a hidden key in a seemingly jumbled mess, and combining these vectors dramatically increases the risk.
And that leads us to a critical, often overlooked point: familial privacy implications. We talked about how your genome is a family affair, revealing information about your relatives. This isn't a hypothetical. It's a profound ethical and legal concern, often dubbed genetic stalking or genetic voyeurism.
Indeed. The act of one individual consenting to share their DNA implicitly discloses personal health information about their genetic family members. Think about it. You share up to 50% of your genetic makeup with your immediate family.
Sure.
This means if you share your DNA, you are, by extension, sharing critical aspects of your parents', siblings, and children's biological information, often without their explicit consent or even their knowledge. This ripple effect makes it incredibly complex.
We saw this play out in a very real-world, terrifying way with the recent 23andMe data breach in October 2023. This wasn't just a hypothetical scenario. It was a stark public warning.
That was a major wake-up call.
Hackers didn't just access direct user accounts. They specifically targeted and obtained data about potential relatives through an opt-in feature, exposing a sprawling network of family connections.
That breach went deep. It exposed relatives' names, predicted relationships, the percentage of DNA shared, individual ancestry reports, and even uploaded photos.
Okay.
But crucially, the hackers also obtain what's called uninterrupted raw genotype data, health predisposition reports, and carrier status reports for millions. This wasn't just about ancestry. It was about highly sensitive health information directly linked to identified individuals and their families.
So really personal health details.
Extremely personal. Why legal experts have warned this could enable frightening scenarios.
Frightening scenarios indeed. We're talking about the potential creation of hit lists for malicious actors, enabling blackmail by threatening to reveal previously unknown relatives or sensitive family mental health histories, or even direct misuse by employers looking to discriminate.
It's a terrifying thought when your family tree suddenly becomes a target, its branches laden with exploitable information.
Given these inherent vulnerabilities and the sophistication of re-identification techniques, one might reasonably assume there are robust and impenetrable protections in place.
You would hope so.
However, current protections often create a dangerously false sense of security.
That's right. The application of simple pseudonymization and naive de-identification alone is simply not sufficient for robust identity protection in the genomic era.
And why is that specifically? What's the fundamental flaw in these current methods that makes them so inadequate?
These systems often operate with too narrow a view, failing to account for the vast amount of external information that can be linked back to genomic data. They simply mask direct identifiers. While pseudonyms can serve as a first-order protector, acting as a deterrent against a casual, non-computational adversary. If they're based on predictable personal demographics or patterns, they remain highly susceptible to sophisticated dictionary attacks or linkage with other public datasets.
So the pseudonym itself isn't random enough.
Often, yes. A pseudonym is only as strong as the data it hides and how it's generated.
So what does a truly secure pseudonymization look like? If simply swapping names or generalizing zip codes isn't enough, what are the models that genuinely protect us?
Instead, truly robust pseudonymization needs sophisticated approaches, like the RGE, that's random graph-based entropy form of DID, and the DNAM models, data encryption by object mapping.
Okay, those sound complex.
They are. They don't just swap names or blur details. They use complex algorithms to ensure pseudonyms are virtually impossible to link back to individuals, even with significant external data, by obscuring underlying relationships in the data structure itself.
So they break the links.
They're about truly breaking those re-identification chains, not just masking them. They introduce a level of algorithmic complexity that makes inference computationally infeasible. But these are far from universally adopted. They require more effort and expertise.
Beyond these technical shortcomings, there's an even bigger legal blind spot in the U.S. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or EPA.
Ah, yes, EBA.
This is the cornerstone of health data protection, but it does not explicitly specify genomic data as an identifying patient attribute. That's a massive loophole, isn't it?
It absolutely is,
Yeah.
a critical omission. This means genomic data may be released for public research purposes under HIPAA's safe harbor provision, which typically requires removing only 18 specific explicit identifiers like names, social security numbers, or even 5-digit ZIP codes.
Those 18 identifiers again?
Exactly. And the law, crucially, also doesn't require individual permission to use or disclose de-identified health information. The assumption is, if those 18 identifiers are gone, the data is safe for widespread use.
But we just discussed how easily data can be re-identified, even without those explicit identifiers, thanks to quasi-identifiers and genotype-phenotype inferences.
Precisely.
So IPA's safe harbor isn't really a safe harbor for genomic data at all, is it?
Not adequately, no. There's an alternative mechanism called expert determination, which demands statistical or computational proof that the risk of re-identification is very small.
But what does very small even mean?
That's the problem. That term very small isn't precisely defined by law, leaving considerable room for interpretation. And while biometric identifiers are listed in IPA, the explicit inclusion of genomic data within that category remains an unsettled legal issue. It's a gray area that leaves your most personal data exposed to potential misuse.
This legal ambiguity means that even with existing seemingly comprehensive regulations, your genomic data might be more exposed than you realize, or certainly more exposed than other types of health information.
That's a fair assessment.
Understanding these legal nuances is absolutely critical for protecting yourself and your family's genetic information. For more comprehensive guidance on navigating complex compliance landscapes, especially as they evolve to encompass these new challenges, we encourage you to visit our sponsor, www.compliancehub.wiki.
They really offer expert resources to help make sense of these challenging areas and keep you ahead of the curve. It's essential for organizations handling this data.
Absolutely. The legal landscape is clearly murky, but the threats don't stop there. We're now witnessing the rise of something truly unprecedented: cyberbiosecurity threats.
Yes, this is where biology meets hacking in terrifying new ways, moving far beyond traditional cybersecurity concerns. It's no longer just about protecting your bank account. It's about protecting your DNA, which can truly function as a biodigital weapon.
That's a chilling phrase, biodigital weapon. What does that actually mean in practice?
Well, while genomic data and advanced computational capabilities offer transformative opportunities for healthcare, from drug discovery to personalized treatments, they can currently introduce complex privacy and security issues that are now considered the foremost challenges to the entire biomedical community.
The very power makes it a target.
Exactly. The very power of genomics makes it a target.
A sobering study led by Dr. Nasreen Anjum at the University of Portsmouth really brought this home. Her research mapped out threats across the entire next-generation sequencing, or NGS, pipeline. That's the process by which our DNA is read and analyzed.
Right, the core technology.
The findings highlighted plausible scenarios where attackers could deploy synthetic DNA-encoded malware, engage in AI-generated genome manipulation, or utilize re-identification techniques to trace individuals through supposedly anonymized data.
And Dr. Anjum didn't mince words, stating these aren't far-fetched possibilities, but plausible threats in a hyper-connected biotech future. These are things we need to plan for now.
What's profoundly distinct here, and why it's so much more dangerous than, say, a financial breach?
It comes back to that permanence. Unlike financial data that can be reissued or accounts frozen, genomic information is permanent and uniquely personal. Once leaked, it cannot be changed.
Right.
This permanence means a breach isn't just a privacy violation. It fundamentally threatens scientific credibility, public trust, and in some cases even national security.
Dr. Maureen Ul-Hassan, a co-author of that study, starkly refers to genomic data as the most personal data we have, emphasizing that if stolen or manipulated, it could indeed become a biodigital weapon.
It's not a hypothetical. It's a stark warning about targeted biological threats or even widespread discrimination based on genetic predispositions. The potential for misuse is enormous.
And despite this critical role in protecting future technologies and indeed human health, cyberbiosecurity, the intersection of cybersecurity and biological security, is severely underfunded and widely misunderstood across industries and governments.
It's a dangerous, almost catastrophic oversight. There's a real gap in awareness and resources.
Without deliberate, immediate, and significant action, the unchecked collection and use of genetic data could fuel a terrifying array of societal harms. We're talking about rampant genetic discrimination, pervasive surveillance that knows your deepest biological secrets.
And in the most extreme scenarios, acts of bioterrorism through engineered pathogens. It's a future that makes science fiction thrillers look, frankly, quite quaint.
One of the most alarming developments is attacks directly on DNA sequencing and laboratory infrastructure, specifically through malicious DNA injection.
This is really cutting edge and quite scary. Recent concrete research has definitively demonstrated a chilling new form of vulnerability. Perpetrators can synthesize biological material which, when subjected to DNA analysis in a lab, can open a cyber backdoor.
How does that work?
It allows them to hijack computational resources within the DNA sequencing pipeline itself. The DNA itself carries the malicious code.
This isn't theoretical at all. It's been proven in labs. An attacker can insert a malicious payload from a computer script directly into a DNA sequence within a biological sample, say a sample that's going to be sequenced. Upon processing, this malicious payload exploits software vulnerabilities within the sequencing software to create and open a reverse shell to a remote address,
Giving the adversary direct control over the computational resources hosting that affected software. They basically own the machine through a biological sample.
What could they then do with that control?
Oh, the implications are vast and terrifying. They could eavesdrop on future DNA analyses, stealing incredibly valuable proprietary genomic data, or even actively sabotage the entire sequencing process.
Bad results.
Imagine the consequences.
Yeah.
Misdiagnosis of illnesses, incorrect forensic investigations leading to wrongful convictions, or suboptimal animal and plant breeding, impacting global food supplies. These aren't minor glitches. They strike at the heart of our health, justice, and agricultural systems.
One specific exploit actually involves synthesizing DNA that, when sequenced and processed by a modified downstream sequencing utility, resulted in arbitrary remote code execution.
Yes, direct code execution from DNA. This highlights that these threats are no longer something out of a futuristic movie, but a present danger, a tangible vulnerability in our scientific infrastructure.
What's particularly insidious are the attack vectors. The malicious DNA code doesn't even need direct digital access through a network.
No, it can be physical. Experiments have shown that simple organisms like E. coli bacteria can be used as viable biological carriers for malicious code.
Bacteria carrying malware.
Essentially, yes. Furthermore, this malicious DNA can be subtly hidden and transported on common surfaces, such as lab coats, lab benches, or rubber gloves.
So hackers could potentially swab samples onto equipment or spread them in environments likely to be swabbed, proving that the threat extends beyond the digital realm into the physical laboratory.
It's a whole new level of biohacking where the line between biological and digital threats completely blurs.
That's a concept that genuinely makes me rethink lab security from the ground up. It's not just about firewalls anymore.
Not at all. And beyond malicious DNA injection, the increasing connectivity and automation of laboratory equipment themselves introduce significant new attack surfaces. It's not just the data that's vulnerable, but the very machines that handle the biological material.
Like what kind of machines?
Hackers could disrupt the biomanufacturing of vital medicines for human health by targeting internet-connected freezers, refrigerators, and incubators, manipulating their temperature or function. They could also manipulate thermal processing times and temperatures in food production, for example, to compromise food safety on a massive scale.
This isn't limited to traditional IT systems either. We're talking about specialized lab equipment.
Exactly. Computer worms could seize control of robots or autonomous vehicles used in labs, leading to failures in performing tasks or overriding their precise functions, corrupting experiments or manufacturing processes.
Even common lab devices like PCR machines, now increasingly automated and connected, are raising unprecedented security concerns.
These are often treated as isolated, trusted devices. But in a networked lab, they become potent entry points for adversaries. They weren't necessarily designed with network security as a top priority.
The NotPetya ransomware attack in 2017, which cost the pharmaceutical giant Merck almost $1 billion in direct costs, serves as a stark reminder of the devastating economic impact cyber attacks can have on the biomedical industry.
And that wasn't even a targeted biological attack, just a general ransomware attack. But it brought a major pharma company to its knees, costing immense amounts in lost production and recovery. Imagine the impact of a truly targeted bio-cyber attack.
This brings us to the broader landscape of cyber-biological convergence and the Internet of Bodies, or IOB.
Right. Engineered biology is a powerful concept defined as the capability to program a biological system, much like programming a computer. This cutting-edge field is supported by a vast digital infrastructure,
including massive amounts of data, sophisticated data storage, computer-dependent laboratory equipment, internet-connected communication networks, and complex supply chains.
While this immense connectivity undoubtedly improves workflows and enhances productivity across the bioeconomy, it also introduces unique threats that traditional cybersecurity doesn't fully account for.
What's the key difference?
The critical difference is that biological systems, unlike computer programs, can self-assemble, self-repair, and crucially, self-replicate. This makes the consequences of a breach far more unpredictable, harder to contain, and potentially catastrophic, because a compromised biological system can propagate the malicious intent.
It's a truly emerging field, which means the research is just beginning to catch up.
It is. Academic research into the cyber implications of engineered biology has seen a year-on-year increase, with a significant majority of relevant articles published in academic journals over just the past few years. This indicates a growing, but still nascent recognition of this critical and potentially destabilizing field.
And then there's the Internet of Bodies, or IOB.
Yes, the IOB, which represents a groundbreaking evolution extending the Internet of Things, IoT, into the most intimate domain possible, the human body itself.
So connected us.
Exactly. It integrates devices that are ingested, implanted, or worn, creating a continuous network where human bodies can exchange data, enabling everything from remote health monitoring to potentially remote control.
There are three generations of IoB devices, and they are quickly moving from familiar consumer tech to deep biological integration. The first generation, what we call body external, are the most familiar.
Smartwatches, fitness trackers.
Right, like Apple Watches and Fitbits, and even Bluetooth-connected breast pumps. Their widespread adoption has really paved the way, normalizing the idea of technology closely monitoring our bodies.
The second generation, body internal, includes devices like pacemakers, cochlear implants, and smart pills, which are often life-enhancing and sometimes life-saving technologies already embedded within us.
These aren't just wearables, they are integral to a person's physical functioning and have direct access to internal biological signals. And then the third generation, body embedded or even melted, represents the most advanced and some would say most speculative stage.
This is where technology becomes an intrinsic, almost indistinguishable part of the human body. Think smart contact lenses for continuous glucose monitoring or real-time text translation directly onto your retina.
Or even artificial hippocampi designed not just to restore, but to enhance memory.
These innovations create a real-time, bidirectional connection to remote machines, blurring the lines between human and technology in unprecedented ways.
How are these things connecting?
Well, while short-range solutions like Bluetooth connect smartwatches or cochlear implants to phones, more advanced, ubiquitous connectivity relies heavily on Wi-Fi and cellular standards, especially 5G.
5G enabling the IoB.
Exactly. 5G offers significantly faster and more reliable data transfer, increased flexibility and mobility, positioning the cellular Internet of Bodies to become the dominant solution in the health ecosystem, enabling real-time feedback loops that were previously impossible.
The IoB is not merely a leap in personal healthcare and lifestyle enhancement. It's a significant area for advanced software development, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in medical science, human performance, and personal enhancement.
But with that incredible promise comes an equally incredible new attack surface.
Absolutely. The vast amounts of omics data on cells, genes, transcripts, proteins are growing exponentially each year.
This isn't just data. It's becoming a national advantage for countries that can access, process, and leverage it through bioinformational engineering and the Internet of Biological Things. This rapid convergence of biology and cybernetics paints a chilling picture.
It potentially leads to a Gattaca meets Black Mirror reality where our DNA isn't just destiny, but a critical, pervasive digital liability.
The very technology that could cure cancer or track pandemics may also be hijacked, not just to spy, but to control, manipulate, or even destroy individuals and entire systems.
This isn't just about identity theft, it's about the potential for biological warfare or widespread social engineering using our most intimate data.
As these threats rapidly evolve and converge across the biological and digital realms, the need for robust, proactive cybersecurity measures throughout the entire bioeconomy is undeniable. It's a race against time.
For organizations and security leaders seeking cutting-edge solutions to manage these advanced cyber risks, our sponsor www.CISOmarketplace.com offers a vital platform.
Yes, connecting with essential resources and expertise is crucial to help navigate this emerging and complex threat landscape. It's a necessary hub for that kind of specific knowledge.
We truly stand at the precipice of a future where DNA is not merely destiny, but a tangible, profound digital liability. The same technology poised to revolutionize medicine and enhance human capabilities could easily be weaponized for pervasive surveillance, insidious control, or even destruction.
It's the Gattaca meets Black Mirror reality we've been talking about, moving from speculative fiction to stark possibility.
The World Economic Forum, or WEF, has extensively explored the profound societal implications of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and its technological drivers for health purposes.
And this isn't just about individual privacy. It includes the potential for technologically enhanced forms of behavioral control, often presented under the guise of health conservation and restoration, appealing to our deepest desires for well-being.
And this isn't just abstract thought. WEF initiatives like UNTACT, referring to the increasing robotization of services and reduction of human contact, the promotion of smart wearables for contact tracing, and COVID Pass health passports leveraging blockchain technology all raise significant concerns.
These are seen by some as potentially paving pathways to total surveillance and the emergence of a neo-medieval world health society where health status becomes the defining stratifier of social worth and access.
In this unsettling vision, health could indeed become the primary stratifier, determining who has access to services, travel, or even certain rights.
This could lead to a society as total institution, a terrifying possibility where technological integration and control become almost inescapable, fundamentally reshaping our social fabric and individual autonomy. It's a future where health data, willingly shared for convenience, could become a tool for societal coercion.
And a major, very accessible player in this landscape is direct-to-consumer, or DTC, genetic testing.
Right, the home kits.
Companies like 23andMe and Ancestry have popularized this trend, with millions of Americans using these services to explore ancestry, paternity, and even health predispositions. 23andMe alone boasts a massive 12 million customers.
It's become a mainstream way for people to engage with their genetic data.
This model revolutionized several aspects of genetic information access. It offers patient-initiated testing, essentially removing the physician as a gatekeeper,
Which has pros and cons.
and provides diverse end uses far beyond just traditional medical diagnostics. It boasts competition-driven pricing, making it accessible, and offers direct return of information to the consumer, often without clinical support or counseling.
The FDA has even approved marketing for some of 23andMe's genetic health risk tests, signifying a shift towards acknowledging them as sources of credible, though consumer-driven, health information.
But despite the allure of self-discovery and health insights, DTC genetic testing carries significant risks, particularly from data brokers who can obtain genetic information without explicit consumer consent.
How does that happen?
Often through commonplace occurrences like company mergers, acquisitions, or, as we've already seen, data breaches. And this impacts not only direct users, but also, crucially, their entire network of blood relatives.
The 23andMe data breach in October 2023 serves as a potent, real-world warning of these dangers. Hackers didn't just access basic contact information. They obtained highly sensitive data from millions,
including names, birth dates, precise genetic ancestry results, profile photos, and, critically, uninterrupted raw genotype data, which is the full, uninterpreted sequence of genetic markers.
and specific health predisposition reports and carrier status reports. This led to a class action lawsuit against the company, which is still ongoing, highlighting the grave financial and reputational costs.
Experts warn of truly terrifying downstream consequences from such breaches. The combination of breached genetic data with other readily available personal information could enable sophisticated identity fraud.
Building incredibly detailed profiles.
Exactly. Attackers could blackmail individuals by threatening to reveal previously unknown relatives or highly sensitive family health histories, such as predispositions to mental health issues, creating immense psychological and social leverage.
Furthermore, information about health predispositions, if leaked, could be misused by employers to subtly pass over job candidates or deny promotions, creating a new and insidious form of genetic discrimination.
And attorneys have also raised very serious concerns that ethnicity-specific groupings accessed in breaches could become hit lists for terrorists or intelligence agencies seeking to identify and target specific populations.
Creating unprecedented geopolitical risks. It moves beyond individual harm.
This leads us to consider the broader societal impact of genomic data breaches, which extend far beyond individual privacy violations.
The loss of control over genomic data poses risks to personal security and, increasingly, to national security. Adversaries could exploit this data for pervasive surveillance, systematic oppression, and large-scale extortion campaigns, undermining societal stability.
Breaches of genomic databases can also lead to the theft of invaluable intellectual property, undermining a nation's competitive advantage in the rapidly advancing field of biotechnology.
And beyond medical data, think about critical food and agriculture systems. They're increasingly reliant on complex computer systems for everything from crop management to supply chain logistics. These are underreported, but highly susceptible to sabotage.
A ransomware attack on a meat industry supply chain, for example, could have profound national security implications, disrupting distribution and the availability of essential food products for an entire nation.
Then there are the profound health outcome concerns and the specter of algorithmic bias. Effectively integrating genomic data into electronic health records, or EHRs, is crucial for realizing the promise of personalized or precision medicine.
But breaches compromise the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of this vital information, directly impacting a patient's medical care and potentially leading to inaccurate diagnoses or treatments.
And a significant concern here is the potential for bias in AI algorithms that process genomic data. if the sample data used to train these algorithms is not truly representative of diverse populations.
Which it often isn't.
Right. It can amplify existing societal biases, leading to discrimination against underprotected or marginalized populations. We've seen this play out in facial recognition technologies, as observed by NIST, where algorithms trained on biased datasets perform poorly on certain demographics.
This could create a dangerous digital divide in health, where precision medicine becomes precise discrimination.
And perhaps most chillingly, we face profound human engineering and ethical crossroads. Genomic information could, in the future, be misused for eugenics, targeting specific kinship traits or other human characteristics for enhancement or eradication.
Potentially resulting in profound societal or psychological harm on an unimaginable scale.
It's a heavy thought. And while seemingly attractive, the concept of granting individuals granular control over their genomic data, giving them ultimate say over who sees what specific gene, carries its own risks.
How so?
It could inadvertently foster an unwarranted fear of genomics, potentially disrupting groundbreaking scientific advances in ways that ultimately do not align with public well-being, hindering research that could cure diseases. It's a complex balance between individual autonomy and collective progress.
The profound societal implications of genomic data demand careful consideration and informed action from all of us. Understanding your rights, the evolving legal landscape, and the broader privacy threats is crucial.
And staying informed is key.
For insights into protecting your personal data in this rapidly evolving digital and biological age, our sponsor, www.myprivacy.blog, offers a wealth of valuable information and perspectives, helping you make informed decisions about your most intimate data.
Now let's turn our attention from the challenges to the solutions. How do we build a resilient future in this complex landscape? It calls for foundational cybersecurity and privacy frameworks, adopting a truly holistic approach.
The National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, provides a suite of comprehensive voluntary resources applicable to any organization, federal, academic, or private sector, aiming to improve cybersecurity and privacy risk management.
Yes, things like the cybersecurity framework, the privacy framework, the risk management framework, and crucial guidance on zero-trust architecture. These are foundational.
What's significant is how NIST is tailoring these for our specific discussion.
Exactly. NIST is actively developing specific profiles tailored for genomic data within these broader frameworks. These profiles are designed to help organizations identify gaps in their security capabilities and prioritize investments, ensuring genomic data protections are effectively implemented from the ground up.
So, specific guidance for this specific data type.
Right. For instance, the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, is actively shifting from traditional identity-based access, where you just grant access based on who a researcher is, to a more robust, authority-based access model for genomic data.
So this new model focuses on what a researcher and their software are authorized to do within a system rather than just who they are.
Precisely. This directly addresses a critical confinement problem, preventing data from being shared or used beyond authorized purposes. It's a proactive, granular step to limit potential misuse, even from authorized users, and represents a much more sophisticated approach to data governance.
Beyond government guidance, protecting genetic data demands far more than just encryption, which is often seen as a panacea.
It's not enough on its own. It requires a stringent combination of privacy measures, robust access controls, and strong identity security, representing true industry best practices.
Key practices here include implementing a zero-trust approach, where no entity inside or outside the network is automatically trusted. Every access attempt is verified.
Zero trust is critical. This is complemented by privileged access management, or PAM, which strictly controls and monitors access to sensitive systems, strong authentication requirements, regular auditing of all access logs, and strict restrictions on third-party integrations that could inadvertently introduce vulnerabilities.
Companies handling this sensitive data are also strongly encouraged to meet recognized security certifications, such as SOC2 Type 1 and Type 2, and ISO 27001, 27017, and 27018.
These aren't just arbitrary badges. They represent rigorous, independently audited standards for security and privacy. They signify a commitment.
And these certifications are invaluable for building trust. They demonstrate that a company has established robust controls covering confidentiality, security, privacy, and risk management through rigorous internal audits and external assessments.
For comprehensive resources and expert guidance on achieving and maintaining compliance in complex data environments like these, our sponsor, www.compliancehub.wiki, is an invaluable resource again.
Yes, helping organizations meet these demanding and increasingly critical standards is exactly what they do. Moving to technical innovations beyond traditional security, a promising development specifically designed to secure genomic sequencers is the manufacturer usage description, or MUD specification.
MUD, yes, this is quite interesting. It significantly enhances the security of these critical laboratory devices.
How does MUD work specifically? What does it do to these sequencers?
MUD functions by limiting a sequencer's network communication to only explicitly allowed protocols, devices, and servers. Imagine giving a device a very strict whitelist. You can only talk to these specific servers using these specific communication methods and absolutely nothing else.
Yeah.
It's like giving the device a tightly controlled conversation script.
So MUD managers provide microsegmentation for these devices by installing firewall rules directly on the network, greatly inhibiting an adversary's ability to access a managed device, and severely restricting their lateral movement across the rest of the network if a breach occurs.
And a significant advantage is that this solution can even be implemented with legacy devices whose software cannot be modified, which is crucial in many lab settings where upgrading hardware isn't always feasible. It effectively air-gaps them at the network level without physical separation.
Another rapidly evolving and incredibly promising area is privacy-enhancing technologies, or PTs.
PTs, yes. These include sophisticated tools like homomorphic encryption, secure multi-party computation, and differential privacy. The magic here is that these technologies enable computations to be performed on encrypted datasets without ever having to decrypt the specific records.
Which preserves privacy during the analysis itself.
Exactly.
That sounds almost like magic. Can you break down one or two of those for our listeners? How can you compute on data you can't even see?
Sure. Let's take homomorphic encryption. Imagine being able to add or multiply numbers in a spreadsheet without ever opening the file or seeing the actual numbers. You just operate on the encrypted data and get an encrypted result.
Wow.
Or secure multi-party computation, where multiple parties can analyze their combined data, perhaps for a medical study, without any single party ever revealing their individual raw data to the others. They collaborate cryptographically.
Okay.
And differential privacy. That's about adding just enough statistically calibrated noise to a data set to protect individual privacy while still allowing for accurate aggregate analysis. It masks individuals but preserves overall trends.
So these aren't just buzzwords, they're mathematical breakthroughs that fundamentally change how we can share and analyze sensitive information, especially genomic data, without exposing the raw, private detail.
You have huge potential.
Those are genuinely revolutionary. But are PTTs a complete solution on their own?
Unfortunately, no. While PETs show immense promise, they are not standalone silver bullet solutions. They're an evolving area of research, often computationally intensive, and must be deployed strategically in combination with other robust controls.
And there are challenges.
Yes, particularly concerning the long-term management of encrypted genomic data, especially with the emergence of powerful new computing technologies like quantum computing, which could potentially crack existing encryptions and render some PETs obsolete. It's a continuous arms race.
To directly counter that insidious physical threat of malicious DNA injection, a novel biological countermeasure has been developed.
Right, using biology to fight back, using the genetic similarity of biological samples to identify material that has been deliberately engineered for biohacking. It's like a biological firewall.
How effective is it?
This method has shown an impressive ability to detect up to 95% of malicious DNAs, primarily because code injections appear substantially different from natural DNA mutations. Synthetic, maliciously engineered DNA often contains specific, identifiable patterns or sequences that don't occur naturally or follow normal evolutionary processes.
So you can spot the artificial code.
In many cases, yes. This provides a critical biological firewall at the very point of data input, before the malicious code even enters the digital processing pipeline. It's an exciting example of using biology to fight biothreats.
Finally, there's a critical need for consensus-based security guidelines, such as those provided by DISA-STIGs, that's the Defense Information Systems Agency's Security Technical Implementation Guides.
STIGs. Yes, these are essential for hardening data analysis pipelines and associated devices like sequencers, establishing auditable and trusted configuration baselines, a kind of military-grade gold standard for security.
The need for these is urgent because many bioinformatics tools, particularly open-source software developed by smaller research groups, have often not been subjected to significant adversarial pressure or rigorous security testing.
That's a major weakness. Research has revealed poor security practices in commonly used next-generation sequencing programs, including the presence of insecure function calls and static buffers, making them vulnerable to sophisticated buffer overflow attacks.
So the software itself can be weak.
It highlights a crucial, often overlooked gap in the software supply chain for genomic analysis. We're building critical systems on potentially shaky foundations.
This brings us to the evolving discipline of cyberbiosecurity, a new frontier in security that is absolutely essential for our future.
It really is. To address the complex and intertwined security vulnerabilities arising from the convergence of biological and cyber systems, this new dedicated discipline is being strongly advocated for.
And how is it defined?
It is explicitly defined as understanding the vulnerabilities to unwanted surveillance, intrusions, and malicious and harmful activities which can occur within or at the interfaces of commingled life and medical sciences, cyber-physical supply chain, and infrastructure systems.
So it covers all those intersections.
Exactly. It's a comprehensive interdisciplinary field that acknowledges the unique nature of these blended threats.
The ultimate aim of cyberbiosecurity is to understand the biosciences' specific risks and cyber threat landscape, and to develop comprehensive measures to prevent, protect against, mitigate, investigate, and attribute these threats.
Ensuring security, competitiveness, and resilience across various sectors, from healthcare to agriculture, it's truly a proactive, interdisciplinary approach for an entirely new era of threats.
However, surveys of biotech professionals reveal that insufficient time and resources are currently dedicated to managing these emerging risks.
There's a big gap between awareness and action. And this isn't a one-size-fits-all solution either. Cyber biosecurity must be meticulously adapted to individual circumstances and applications, whether in highly regulated biomedical research or the vast complexities of precision agriculture.
So what are the concrete recommendations to overcome these significant challenges? Because it sounds like we have a massive gap to close.
Well, one of the biggest hurdles, interestingly enough, is simply language. Biotech and cybersecurity professionals often speak completely different technical dialects.
Right, different jargon.
So a key recommendation is to foster a common language, shared terminology, understanding each other's priorities and risks to truly enable the interdisciplinary collaboration we desperately need. Imagine a cyber expert trying to understand the nuances of gene sequencing without a biological primer, or vice versa.
That makes perfect sense. It's not just about technical solutions, but bridging intellectual gaps. And beyond communication, are companies actually investing in this? Because the report mentions insufficient time and resources.
Exactly. So developing robust training programs and providing accessible resources for businesses and organizations is critical. It's not enough to say do cyber biosecurity. We need to show them how and incentivize that investment.
How do you incentivize it?
Perhaps through government grants or industry standards that mandate certain levels of protection, rather than waiting for another billion-dollar Merck-style breach. Increased government involvement and dedicated programs are also crucial to incentivize and support these efforts across the board.
Another fundamental recommendation is adopting a privacy by design approach.
Yes, this means articulating clear privacy principles at the very outset of any project involving genomic data, rather than trying to retrofit protections later, which is often inefficient and incomplete. It's about building privacy in, not bolting it on.
And accountability.
Absolutely critical. We need to establish accountable oversight of data uses and implement real penalties, both economic and reputational, for inflicting harm on individuals and groups through misuse of genomic data. Without real consequences, the incentive to prioritize security diminishes.
And practically.
On a practical level, creating secure databases for specific purposes, such as research, ancestry, or criminal justice, with tailored privacy-protecting tools and individual choice for inclusion is vital. This prevents a single, monolithic, highly vulnerable database holding everything.
This evolving discipline of cyber biosecurity is critical for protecting the future of our bioeconomy and, indeed, our individual genetic identities.
For security leaders and professionals looking to navigate this emerging threat landscape and find cutting-edge solutions, our sponsor, www.cisomarketplace.com, provides that vital marketplace again.
Yes, connecting with the necessary expertise and technologies to build resilient systems is key, and they facilitate that.
Wow. We've certainly taken a profound deep dive today into the fascinating yet incredibly challenging world of genomic data.
We really have. We've explored its unique and permanent nature, its shocking vulnerability to re-identification, and the escalating biodigital threats arising from the convergence of cyber and biological systems.
From the insidious sophistication of malicious DNA injection attacks on sequencing machines to the privacy dilemmas posed by widely adopted direct-to-consumer genetic tests, it's clear that your genetic identity is under new and complex forms of pressure.
It's a race, really, between innovation and the threats that come with it.
But we also looked at the powerful solutions emerging, from robust NIST frameworks and cutting-edge privacy-enhancing technologies to the nascent but absolutely vital field of cyberbiosecurity.
These are all working in concert to build a more resilient and secure future for our most intimate data. There is hope, but work to do.
Definitely.
As engineered biology continues to advance and the Internet of Bodies increasingly integrates technology within our very being, what new ethical and security lines might be crossed in the pursuit of optimization or even digital immortality? How much control are you truly willing to give up over your most fundamental biological blueprint for convenience, health, or even perceived enhancement? This is a conversation that is only just beginning, and your informed participation is absolutely essential.
We encourage you to stay informed, engage with these critical discussions, and advocate for robust privacy and security protections for genomic data. Your voice truly matters in shaping this future.
A huge thank you to our incredible sponsors for supporting deep dives into critical topics like this. www.cisomarketplace.com for connecting security leaders with vital solutions.
www.compliancehub.wiki for expert guidance on navigating complex regulatory landscapes.
And www.myprivacy.blog for insights into protecting your personal data in this rapidly evolving digital and biological age. You can find links to all of them, along with additional resources, in our show notes.
Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay secure.